Lyra stood at the edge of the massive interstellar forge, her small hands gripping the ingot of metal that her uncle had given her. The air around her buzzed with energy, thick and almost alive. The hum of alien machinery filling the cavernous hall. This was no ordinary forge. It was the pride of the alien Forgemaster clan, a being whose reputation for crafting weapons and armor spanned more than a dozen star systems. Nothing made of metal could survive his tests. Nothing, that is, except what humans call Damascus steel. Claren's voice boomed across the hall as he stepped out from behind his throne-like workbench. His 6 arms were folded, each ending in sharp, clawed fingers that gleamed in the dim light. His eyes, bright like twin suns, scanned Lyra and the small ingot in her hands. "You dare bring this trinket into my forge?" he asked, his voice a mixture of curiosity and mockery. "Do you know who I am, human? I am the Forgemaster of the Andral Cluster. Nothing breaks, bends, or resists me. Nothing. And yet, you claim this scrap will survive my trials?" Lyra smiled. Not a nervous smile, but one filled with quiet confidence. She had grown up around fire and hammers, learning to watch metal like it was alive. "It's not just scrap," she said softly. "It's Damascus steel. My uncle makes it on weekends. You might say it's handmade." A ripple of laughter ran through the hall, low and dangerous. Aliens from dozens of planets leaned forward, their elongated necks craning to see what would happen. Claren's laugh was like grinding metal against metal. "Damascus," he hissed, "a myth, a tale for human children. You think your little weekend project can survive my forge? You insult me, human." Lyra held the ingot closer to the forge's light. The patterns in the metal seemed to ripple and shift as if alive. "It isn't about insulting anyone," she said. "It's about proving what's possible." Claren's claws flexed, and a faint hum traveled along the floor. With a sudden motion, he lifted a massive hammer, its head glowing with energy hotter than a sun. "Then let us see, little human," he said. "Show me if your metal lives or dies." The hall was silent as Lyra stepped forward. She placed the ingot on a small anvil she had carried with her, a tiny thing compared to the massive alien devices surrounding her. She struck the metal lightly with her own hammer. Sparks flew, bright and blue, reflecting in the alien eyes watching her. Lyra worked carefully, folding and hammering the metal as she had learned from her uncle. Every strike was precise, controlled, almost like a dance. The aliens whispered among themselves. Many had never seen humans work up close. The way she moved, small and seemingly fragile, yet confident and deliberate, was unusual. Claren's 6 eyes narrowed. He had expected panic. He had expected failure. Instead, he saw focus, skill, and patience. Minutes turned into hours as Lyra continued her work. She heated the ingot in a small, portable furnace she had brought from Earth. The fire glowed orange and yellow, the patterns in the steel becoming brighter, more defined. She folded the metal, cooled it, then heated it again. Each cycle strengthened it, shaping it into something extraordinary. Finally, she lifted her hammer, poised for the last strike. "Now," she said, her voice calm but strong. "Now you will see." Claren approached, his massive frame casting a shadow over the human. He raised his energy hammer, preparing to crush the ingot, expecting the metal to shatter or bend. Instead, it held. Every strike, every blow, every test the Forgemaster threw at it failed to leave a mark. Sparks flew, metal sang, but it did not break, it did not bend, it did not give way. The aliens gasped. Some whispered to each other in languages Lyra did not understand, their voices a mix of fear and admiration. Claren stepped back, his claws twitching with disbelief. "Impossible," he roared. "This cannot exist. No metal should survive me." Lyra smiled again, gently brushing her hands over the steel. "It's simple," she said. "The secret is patience, care, and understanding the metal. My uncle taught me. He doesn't just forge it. He talks to it, listens to it. That's what humans do." Claren's eyes narrowed further. He did not like being outmatched, especially by a human. He had faced countless species, countless metals, countless challenges, and he had never lost. Yet here was a human, small, unassuming, proving that patience and understanding could triumph over raw power. You rely on tradition. He said, almost angrily, you rely on old ways. Technology is strength. Machines, energy. The universe bows to the strong. Lyra shook her head. Strength is important, she replied, but it's not everything. You can have the strongest hammer, the hottest forge, the most advanced alloys. But if you don't understand the metal, it will fail you. That's the difference between breaking something and creating something that lasts. A tense silence followed. Clarence stared at her, then at the ingot. The light from the forge reflected off the patterns. The waves and folds shimmering like liquid fire, slowly. A murmur spread across the gathered aliens. They had seen weapons shatter under Clarence's trials. Before, they had seen metals bend and snap under heat, pressure, and energy. But they had never seen something survive, not like this. Lyra placed the ingot on a pedestal she had brought with her. She stepped back and let it catch the light, revealing the intricate patterns. This metal isn't about strength alone, she said. It's about understanding, skill, and care. It's about seeing what's possible, not just what's expected. Humans, we like to try the impossible. Clarence's claws twitched, almost unconsciously. His pride, enormous as it was, struggled against the undeniable fact before him. One human had achieved what he believed could not exist. The notion irritated him, yet it intrigued him. There was a fire in this human that was rare, even among the strongest alien species he had met. You have spirit, he admitted slowly. I cannot deny it, but spirit alone does not make a metal. Show me the limits, human. Show me if it truly can survive, or if you have just delayed the inevitable. Lyra smiled. I'm ready, she said. Show me your best. Clarence's energy hammer rose again, the air sizzling around it. He struck the ingot with all the force he could muster, the sound echoing like thunder. The metal shone, absorbing the energy, resisting, and even singing under the blow. Lyra adjusted her stance, feeling the vibrations through the floor. Listening to the metal's response, she tapped it, folded it, and struck again. Each strike seemed to respond to her touch, dancing under her control. The aliens watched in awe. Even the most skeptical among them began to whisper, some daring to say the word aloud. Human skill. Remarkable. Clarence dropped to one knee, studying the ingot, studying Lyra. This is not normal, he said quietly. No species has ever done this. No human, no alien, no machine. It is alive, almost, and yet it obeys you. Lyra nodded, her eyes calm. It obeys the one who listens, she said. It obeys the one who understands. My uncle taught me that. He always says, metal is not an enemy. Metal is a partner, and that's what humans do. We learn from our partners, not just try to dominate them. For the first time, Clarence felt something unfamiliar, respect. He had fought countless species, faced impossible challenges, and believed he understood the universe. And yet this small human, this girl with a hammer and an ingot, had shown him that power was not always raw, and strength was not always obvious. The crowd of aliens grew restless. They wanted answers, demonstrations, proof that this human was not merely lucky. Lyra sensed it, stepping forward confidently. If you want proof, she said, I will show you how to shape it into something extraordinary. You'll see the true potential of Damascus steel. And then, you will understand why humans are not to be underestimated. Clarence stood slowly, energy hammer in hand. He nodded once, almost imperceptibly, a sign of reluctant agreement. Very well, human. Show me, impress me. But know this failure will not be tolerated. One misstep, in this metal, and you will be nothing. Lyra smiled softly, feeling the weight of the challenge, but also the thrill of possibility. She had come here not to destroy or compete, but to demonstrate, to teach, and perhaps even to inspire. In this forge, under the eyes of the galaxies, most feared Forgemaster, a human was about to prove that ingenuity, patience, and understanding could be stronger than raw power. The forge rumbled as Clarence struck the metal once more, testing it, and for the first time, he realized that this challenge was not just about strength. It was about imagination, courage. In the quiet, unstoppable force of humanity, Lyra lifted her hammer, ready to begin the next stage of her work. Sparks flew, patterns shimmered, and a small crowd of aliens leaned closer. Somewhere in the back, a young alien apprentice whispered, wide-eyed, maybe humans are not so weak after all. Lyra smiled, hearing the words without turning. We're not, she whispered to herself. We're just getting started. The forge hall had grown quiet after Lyra's first display of skill. The ingot of Damascus steel rested on the small pedestal she had placed it on, shimmering faintly under the alien lights. Clarence 6 arms flexed as he studied the human carefully. He had never seen anyone handle metal like this, never anyone. Most species relied on raw strength, on technology far beyond the capabilities of their bodies. Humans relied on patience, observation, and understanding. Clarence raised one claw and tapped the ingot lightly. I want to see if this metal can truly survive what I throw at it, he said. If it fails, it will shatter completely. No human has ever survived my tests. Lyra nodded. Her hands were steady, her mind clear. I'm ready, she said. I want to learn from this too. The aliens around them leaned in closer, murmuring excitedly in a mix of languages. Many of them had never seen a human up close. Some had studied Earth from afar, hearing stories of the strange, small, and fragile species that somehow survived on a dangerous planet. They had always underestimated humans. Now, they were watching a human challenge the greatest Forgemaster in the galaxy and survive. Clarence started the first test. The forge floor rumbled as a massive energy press descended from the ceiling. It glowed hot, radiating intense heat, enough to melt most metals in seconds. Let's see how it reacts to extreme heat, Clarence said. Lyra placed the ingot carefully under the press. She didn't panic. She didn't flinch. She had watched her uncle do similar tests countless times. He always said, metal tells you what it can take if you listen closely. The press came down with a hiss, the heat rising, searing the air around it. Lyra tapped the ingot lightly with her hammer, folding it carefully, watching the patterns shift. Sparks flew, bright blue and orange. The metal did not bend, did not melt, did not even warp. It sang softly, almost as if it were alive. The crowd of aliens gasped. A few leaned closer, their long fingers reaching out as if to touch it. Impossible. One of them whispered. It should have collapsed under the heat. Clarence 6's eyes narrowed. He had expected the ingot to fail immediately. He had prepared the most extreme heat his forge could generate, enough to melt starship hulls, and yet the metal had survived. The human had survived. Interesting, he said quietly, almost to himself. Perhaps there's more to this human than I thought. Lyra smiled. There's always more than meets the eye, she said. She lifted the ingot and held it over a cooling basin, letting water hiss against the heated metal. She struck it lightly again, folding and shaping it. Each motion was precise, controlled, and careful. Clarence's next test was more physical. With a sweep of his arms, he summoned a set of massive alien tools, hammers larger than Lyra's body, claws designed to crush metal, and energy blades hotter than a sun. He swung the largest hammer down on the ingot. Sparks exploded, light flashing across the hall. Lyra adjusted her stance and tapped the ingot with her own hammer. Each strike, each fold, strengthened it, making it almost seem to resist the alien's immense force. The metal bent slightly under the blow, then snapped back into shape as if it had a memory of its original form. The aliens around her began whispering, "How's this possible? It's like the metal is alive. No one has ever done this before." Clarence growled low in his throat. His pride stung. No one had ever outperformed him. No one had ever shown that strength and power were not the only ways to dominate metal. And yet, here was a small human girl, defying him. "You are skilled," Clarence said, his voice low, almost grudgingly. "But skill alone cannot protect the metal. Let us see if it can survive precision testing." From the ceiling, dozens of energy blades shot downward, each one designed to cut through the strongest alloys known to the galaxy. They moved with speed and precision, aiming for the ingot from multiple angles. Aliens gasped and ducked, expecting a violent display of destruction. Lyra did not move. She raised her hammer and watched the metal carefully. As the blade struck, she tapped, folded, and twisted the ingot. Sparks flew. Light bounced off the walls. The metal held, and with each impact, it seemed to become stronger, more resilient. The crowd erupted in amazement. "It's impossible," one elder alien whispered. "No metal should survive that." Claren's eyes widened slightly, but he masked it with a frown. "This is remarkable," he admitted. "Few have ever survived the energy blades. Fewer still have controlled their metal under such conditions. You are unusual. Human." Lyra nodded. "Humans have always survived impossible things," she said. "We have too, or we wouldn't exist. And sometimes, surviving isn't enough. Sometimes, we have to make the impossible work for us." Claren's next test was even more personal. He swung his energy hammer, with all the power of his 6 arms, aiming to crush the ingot in a single strike. The air vibrated with the force, the floor trembled, aliens leaned back, expecting the ingot to shatter into pieces. Lyra braced herself. She lifted her hammer and tapped the metal. At the exact moment of impact, sparks flew. The metal sang a bright, high note, vibrating like a living thing. The hammer struck, and the ingot bent slightly, then returned to shape. It was as if the metal itself had absorbed the energy, learning from it, adapting. The crowd gasped again. Some aliens whispered in awe. Some muttered about humans' strange resilience. Claren's pride wavered. "How?" he muttered. "How can a human survive this? How can metal endure this?" Lyra smiled gently. "It's not about surviving," she said. "It's about understanding. The metal responds to care, to attention, to knowledge. You can hit it with all your strength, and it may resist. But if you listen, it tells you how to work with it." Claren's mind worked furiously. He had trained for centuries, learned every secret of metal, fire, and energy. He had crafted weapons that could destroy planets. And yet a human had just taught him something new. "Enough," he roared suddenly, stepping back. "Show me your final skill, human. Show me that this is not luck, not chance, but true mastery." Lyra nodded. She lifted the ingot and held it carefully over her small portable forge. She began to fold it in a special pattern, a sequence her uncle had taught her. The patterns on the steel shifted, moving like waves on a calm sea. Sparks flew in a rainbow of colors. The aliens around her leaned closer, unable to look away. "This is the moment of truth," Lyra said softly. "Watch what humans can do when we combine patience, care, and skill." She struck the ingot one last time. The metal gleamed, reflecting every light in the hall. She twisted it slightly, watching the patterns shimmer. It was no longer just an ingot, it was a work of art, a demonstration of resilience, strength, and intelligence all in one. Clarence stepped forward slowly, his massive frame looming over her. He studied the metal, studying her. Slowly, he began to nod. I am impressed," he said quietly. "You have survived every test. You have shown skill, understanding, and ingenuity. This is beyond what I believed possible." The aliens erupted in applause and whispers. Some clapped their clawed hands. Others shook their heads in disbelief. Humans had always been underestimated. And yet here was proof that they could surpass expectations. Lyra smiled. She placed the finished ingot carefully on a display stand. "This is only the beginning," she said. "There's more to learn, more to create, and more to prove. But for now, I hope you see that humans are not weak. We are persistent, we are inventive, and we never give up." Claren's 6 arms flexed. He had been humbled, surprised, and even inspired. A small human girl had survived every trial, proving that ingenuity and patience could rival raw power and technology for the first time. He realized that humans were not to be underestimated. The forge hall buzzed with energy as aliens discussed what they had just witnessed. Whispers spread about humans' unique resilience, their ability to survive impossible challenges, and their creativity in the face of overwhelming odds. Lyra had not only survived the Forgemaster's test, she had redefined what was possible. Claren approached her slowly. "You're extraordinary, human," he said. "Perhaps we have much to learn from you. Perhaps humans are not as fragile as we thought." Lyra smiled. There's more to learn, she said. But for now, thank you for the challenge. It taught me much as well. The crowd watched in awe as the Forgemaster and the human exchanged a quiet, mutual respect. The test was over, but the story of a small human girl and her Damascus steel had just begun. Aliens from distant worlds would talk about this day for generations. Lyra picked up her hammer, the edges glowing faintly from the heat of the forge. She had passed the test, but she knew the real challenges were still ahead. The universe was vast, full of mysteries, dangers, and wonders, and humans were ready to face them all. The forge hall was quiet now, the echoes of the previous test still lingering in the massive chamber. Sparks and smoke danced faintly in the air, shimmering in the glow of molten metal and alien lights. Lyra stood before the pedestal, her hands hovering over the finished ingot of Damascus steel. She could feel its power, its potential, almost like it had a heartbeat of its own clearing. The Forgemaster was watching her carefully. His 6 arms hung at his sides, and his multiple eyes scanned the ingot as if trying to measure its strength with sheer will alone. He had never seen metal behave like this, never seen a human manipulate it with such precision and confidence. He was curious, but cautious. "You have survived my tests," Clarence said, his voice low but filled with respect. "But surviving is not enough. You must show me what your metal can do, not just endure. Show me its full potential. Convince me that this is more than luck, more than an accident. Make me see why humans are remarkable." Lyra smiled. "Very well," she said. "If you want to see, then you must be ready. This is where the metal shows its true power, not just its strength." The crowd of aliens leaned forward, many craning their long necks to watch. They had already seen the metal resist fire, energy, and force. They had already seen the human survive impossible conditions. And yet, they had no idea what was coming next. Lyra lifted the ingot carefully, feeling its weight and balance. She had learned from her uncle that Damascus steel was not just about surviving force. It was about responding to it. Every strike, every touch, every fold made the metal stronger, smarter, almost alive in its reaction. She began to shape it into a weapon, small at first, then gradually forming a blade. Each movement was deliberate, each strike precise. The patterns on the metal shimmered and shifted, reflecting light like liquid fire. Sparks flew with every fold, casting rainbows across the alien faces. Lyra worked quickly, but with care, as if she were having a conversation with the metal itself. Claren's eyes narrowed. "Interesting," he said softly. "It is not only resisting, it is adapting." Lyra tapped the blade lightly, folding it one final time. "It learns," she said. "It listens to the one who works with it, and it grows stronger, more balanced, and more capable with every touch. That is the difference between force and understanding." The aliens murmured among themselves. Many of them had never seen metal behave this way. To them, metal was either strong or weak, simple as that. But this was something different. It was alive in a way they could not understand. Lyra lifted the blade and held it up. "Watch carefully," she said. "This is only the beginning." Clarence stepped back, raising his energy hammer again. "Then show me, human. Show me the true power of your creation." Lyra nodded. With careful precision, she swung the blade at a small piece of alien metal placed on the anvil. The metal shattered, not from force alone, but from the perfect balance of the strike, the precision of the angle, and the understanding of how the Damascus steel moved and reacted. The crowd gasped. Aliens whispered to each other, their voices a mix of disbelief and admiration. "The human controls it, as if it were alive. No technology can do that. It is." Beautiful. Claren's 6 arms flexed, and he stepped closer. "Impressive," he said quietly. "Few have ever done this. Even my finest forges would struggle to achieve such results. You are remarkable, human." Lyra smiled softly. "Thank you," she said. "But it is not just me. It is the metal, the knowledge passed down, the patience, the care. Humans have always survived impossible things. Sometimes we do it with our hands, sometimes with our minds, and sometimes with both." Clarence studied her closely, his pride slowly giving way to curiosity. He had been the Forgemaster for centuries. He had faced countless species, countless metals, countless challenges. And yet, here was a human, small and seemingly fragile, showing him something entirely new. "You speak as if this is common," Clarence said, his voice tinged with disbelief. "But no human has ever demonstrated this before." How? Lyra shrugged slightly. "It may not be common, but it is possible. That is what humans do. We take what we have and make it better. We see what others think is impossible, and we try anyway. Sometimes it works, sometimes it fails, but we always try." The crowd of aliens leaned forward, listening carefully. They were learning something new about humans. They had always thought of them as weak, fragile, primitive. But here was evidence to the contrary, a human creating a weapon that could survive impossible force, adapt, and strike with precision beyond any alien technology. Lyra began to demonstrate further. She took a small shield, made of the same Damascus steel, and held it in front of her. Clarence swung his energy hammer at it, full force. The shield did not bend, did not break, did not even dent. Instead, it absorbed the strike and returned the energy slightly. A faint vibration running through the blade Lyra still held. The aliens gasped. "It is alive," one whispered. "It reacts. It thinks." Lyra smiled. "Not thinking, exactly," she said, "but learning. Every strike, every test, every fold strengthens it, teaches it, makes it respond better. That is the human advantage. We can create things that grow with us, that become stronger as we understand them." Clarence's pride shifted into something new, fascination. He had never met a species capable of such mastery. The Forgemaster of the Andral cluster was used to teaching, to leading, to demonstrating mastery over all things metal. And yet, here was a human showing him something he had never seen before. "Show me more," Clarence said, lowering his hammer. "Show me the limits. Show me what this human craft can truly do." Lyra nodded. She raised the blade again and moved with grace, striking a series of alien metals placed around the forge. Each strike was perfect, calculated, and responsive. The metals broke, bent, or resisted depending on how she handled them. The crowd of aliens watched, their eyes wide. Some whispered in awe. Some shook their heads in disbelief. "This is extraordinary," one elder said softly. "No species could achieve this. No technology, no strength. Only a human." Lyra paused and looked at Clarence. "Do you understand now?" she asked. "Humans are not just survivors. We are creators, innovators. We take the impossible and make it real." Clarence's 6 arms flexed again. He nodded slowly. "I understand," he said. "You have demonstrated not just survival, but mastery. Not just strength, but creativity. Humans are remarkable. Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated you." Lyra smiled, feeling a quiet pride. She had not come to the Forge to boast or to defeat Clarence. She had come to demonstrate what humans could do, to show that ingenuity, patience, and care could achieve what raw strength could not. And she had succeeded. The aliens around them began to clap, some more loudly than others. They had witnessed a rare moment, a human demonstrating skill beyond what they had imagined, a metal reacting in ways no technology could replicate, and a lesson in humility for the greatest Forge Master in the galaxy. Lyra placed the finished blade carefully on the pedestal, letting it catch the light. The patterns shimmered, intricate and alive, reflecting the forge's glow. "This is more than metal," she said softly. "It is patience, skill, and understanding. It is proof that humans can achieve what others deem impossible. And it is only the beginning." Clarence stepped closer, studying the blade. "It is beautiful," he said. "Not just in form, but in function. I cannot deny that this is extraordinary. Perhaps humans have been underestimated for too long." Lyra nodded. "We often are," she said, "but we have always survived. And when we survive, we adapt, we grow, and we create. That is the human way." A young alien apprentice approached carefully, eyes wide. "Master Clarence," he whispered, Do you think humans are truly different?" Clarence's 6 eyes studied Lyra. "Different, yes," he said quietly. Stronger in ways we did not expect, smarter in ways we cannot measure, and patient in ways that give them an advantage even the greatest of us cannot match. Lyra smiled faintly. That's right, she said. We are not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced. But we find a way, we learn, and we never give up. The Forge Hall was silent for a moment, each alien lost in thought. They had seen the impossible. They had watched a human survive, adapt, and create something beyond their understanding. They had witnessed the beginning of a new respect for humanity. Clarence stepped back and lifted his claw in a rare gesture of approval. You have done more than survive, he said. You have taught me, and perhaps the galaxy, that humans are not to be underestimated. That is a lesson we will not forget, Lyra nodded. Thank you, she said softly. But this is only the beginning. There is more to learn, more to create, and more to show. Humans will keep trying, and we will keep growing. The aliens around them whispered excitedly, some bowing slightly in respect, others simply staring in awe. Lyra had not only passed every test, but she had revealed the full potential of human ingenuity. In the extraordinary nature of Damascus steel, Clarence finally lowered his massive frame, energy hammer resting at his side. Perhaps, he said quietly, we have underestimated humans for too long. Perhaps it is time to watch more carefully. Lyra smiled. She had proven what she came to prove, but more importantly, she had shown that humans were more than just survivors. They were creators, innovators, and masters of what others dismissed as impossible. The Forge Hall had settled into an unusual quiet, the echoes of sparks and clashing metal still hanging faintly in the air. Lyra stood at the center, her hands resting lightly on the Damascus steel blade she had crafted. It was no longer just a piece of metal, it was a symbol of human ingenuity, patience, and determination. Across the hall, the Forgemaster Clarence watched her with a mixture of respect, curiosity, and something new, caution. You have shown skill beyond measure, human, Clarence said slowly. And yet, I sense there is more. You have not only survived my tests, but you have transformed them. You have taught me something I never thought possible. Lyra smiled gently. Thank you, she said. I only did what humans do best. We adapt, we learn, and we create. That is how we survive and thrive. The aliens gathered around whispered among themselves, their eyes wide with awe. News of the humans' deeds had spread quickly, and many had traveled from distant systems just to witness it firsthand. Some came with skepticism, expecting to see a weak human fail. Instead, they saw something extraordinary, a species capable of turning legend into reality. One of the elder aliens, his voice trembling slightly, stepped forward. Forgemaster and human, I have seen many skilled beings in my lifetime, but never one who shapes metal as if it were alive, who survives trials thought impossible, and who inspires awe. This human, she is remarkable. Lyra nodded respectfully. I am proud to represent humans, she said softly, but this is not about me alone. It is about what humans can do when we work with what we understand, not just what we overpower. My uncle taught me to respect the metal, to listen to it, to work with it. That is how we achieve what seems impossible. Clarence's 6 eyes focused on her, analyzing every movement, every expression. You have taught me a lesson, he admitted. Perhaps humans are underestimated not because they are weak, but because we failed to see their true nature. You have shown strength, intelligence, and creativity far beyond your size and technology. Lyra smiled. Humans have always survived, she said. We face impossible odds on our planet every day. And when we survive, we don't just continue, we improve. We grow stronger. We learn. And sometimes, we create things the universe never thought possible. The Forgemaster's arms flexed slowly. Perhaps it is time for the galaxy to watch humans more carefully, he said. Perhaps we have ignored a force far more subtle, far more enduring, than raw power. Perhaps we have underestimated them for too long. Lyra felt a quiet thrill at his words. She had not sought recognition. She had not sought to prove herself to the galaxy. She had simply wanted to show what humans could do. And now, even the greatest Forgemaster in the galaxy acknowledged it. Word of her success spread quickly. Messages traveled from system to system, carried by traders, explorers, and diplomats. By the time Lyra left the Forge, the story of the human in her Damascus steel had reached planets hundreds of light years away. Whispers turned into conversations, conversations into debates, and debates into respect. Humans were no longer a species to ignore. Lyra returned to her small workshop on Earth, carrying with her a few pieces of the Damascus steel she had used in the Forge. She had learned much from the trials, but she also knew that her journey was far from over. There were new metals to explore, new techniques to discover, and new challenges awaiting her. Back on Earth, her uncle welcomed her with a warm smile. "I heard about your adventures," he said, carefully examining the blade. "I always knew humans could do great things, but I never imagined this." Lyra laughed softly. "It's not just about humans," she said. "It's about understanding, patience, and creativity. That is the true strength. The universe may not always notice, but that is what sets us apart." Her uncle nodded. "Then keep forging. Keep learning. The galaxy has yet to see what humans can truly create." Meanwhile, across distant worlds, alien scholars and leaders began studying human techniques. Curious to understand the source of their ingenuity, they sent envoys to Earth, offering to exchange knowledge and learn from the humans who could survive what no other species could. Some came with admiration, some with caution, but all came to witness the creativity and skill that had once been underestimated. Back on the Forge's planet, Clarence held meetings with his council, speaking of humans in ways that surprised many. "Do not underestimate them," he warned. "They are small, fragile, and seemingly simple, but they are persistent, inventive, and patient. They may lack the raw power of some species, but they make up for it with intelligence, creativity, and courage. We must watch them carefully." Across the galaxy, humans became symbols of resilience and ingenuity. Their methods, their creativity, and their ability to turn legend into reality inspired countless beings. Some studied their techniques to replicate them. Others simply respected the humans as masters of adaptation. Lyra, back on Earth, continued her work quietly. She experimented with new techniques, discovering ways to improve the steel, create new patterns, and unlock hidden strengths. Her small workshop became a place of learning and innovation. Aliens who had observed her forge returned to Earth, curious to understand how humans could combine skill, patience, and creativity so effectively. One day, a young alien apprentice approached her uncle. "I heard about the human," he said softly, "the one who survived the Forgemaster's trials. Do you think humans can do even more?" Her uncle smiled. "They always can," he said. "Humans have a way of turning the impossible into reality. It is not magic, not luck, it is understanding, patience, and determination. They will continue to surprise the galaxy." Lyra overheard the conversation and smiled quietly. She knew it was true. Humans would continue to grow, learn, and create. They would take challenges the universe thought impossible and turn them into achievements. And through it all, they would remain persistent, inventive, and unyielding. As news of her deeds traveled farther, some worlds began seeking humans for guidance, collaboration, and innovation. Traders brought rare materials for her to study. Scientists and engineers requested to learn from her techniques. Even warriors from distant planets came to witness how humans could forge strength and creativity into something beyond measure. Lyra knew that her Damascus steel had become more than a weapon. It was a symbol of humanity itself, small but persistent, fragile but adaptable, seemingly ordinary but capable of extraordinary feats. It represented the quiet power that humans carried, the ingenuity that no one had truly measured until now. Clarence, far away on his forge, often thought about that human. He had faced countless species, tested countless metals, and pushed beings to their limits. And yet, that one human had taught him a lesson he would never forget. That strength is not always obvious, and the greatest power often lies in patience, creativity, and understanding. The galaxy began to shift subtly. Humans were no longer seen as primitive or weak. They became symbols of innovation, resilience, and unexpected brilliance. Leaders, scholars, and inventors began to study them. Some sought alliances. Others approached cautiously, knowing that humans had already survived what no other species could endure. Lyra continued to forge on Earth, quietly perfecting her craft. She did not seek fame or recognition. She only sought to create, to learn, and to prove to herself what humans could achieve. Yet her actions rippled across the galaxy, inspiring awe, respect, and even fear in those who had once underestimated humanity. Years later, the story of the human who faced the Forgemaster became a legend. Young aliens on distant planets learned it as a tale of ingenuity, courage, and perseverance. Humans, too, told the story in their own way, a reminder of what they could accomplish when they combined skill, patience, and creativity. Lyra's Damascus steel, once a small ingot crafted by her uncle on quiet weekends, became a symbol of legacy. It represented the essence of humanity, small, persistent, inventive, and always striving for the impossible. And somewhere deep in the forge halls of distant worlds, Clarence still watched and remembered. He had learned a truth that would guide him for the rest of his life. Never underestimate a human. Their patience, their ingenuity, and their quiet strength could change the course of the galaxy itself. Lyra placed her latest creation on a pedestal in her workshop, the steel gleaming under the soft earth light. Sparks reflected across the walls, patterns shimmering like fire. She held her hammer lightly, feeling the weight of possibility in her hands. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "Humans will keep learning. We will keep creating. And the universe will keep watching." Outside, the wind rustled gently through the trees, carrying the quiet reminder that even the smallest beings, with patience, skill, and determination, could leave a mark on the stars. Lyra smiled. She knew the truth. Humans would always rise to challenges, always turn the impossible into reality, and always leave a legacy that the galaxy could not ignore. And with that, the forge of humanity burned quietly, ready to shape the next impossible creation.